As I've been working with many teams and also with myself through the past couple months, one thing has become more and more clear to me and to you. There's a lot going on. The complexity and the chaos and the challenges of our work are not getting less. The minimum bar for like craziness is increasing, and we keep rising to that bar of complexity and challenges. So when I'm working with teams and folks like you, we often kind of ask, how do we figure out where the current bar of complexity and challenge is inside your workplace, your life, your family? And then from that, determine what we can do to be better or how to amplify and dampen certain parts in the current environments. So, one thing I've been using a lot lately for myself with teams and in one-on-one meetings are the solved solution focused cards that I created a couple months ago. So I'm going to walk through a series of 6 questions that are from the solved cards deck. And I'll show you how I've been mashing those up with organizations and people like you to develop a series of questions to break you out of your stuckness in thinking and to define in a solution focused or a way that identifies progress, what you want to have happen, and how we can begin to create what are called indicators or clues of what you want to have happen and when it is happening, how you can notice it. So in the link below this video will be a link to the solved cards themselves, and you can buy a deck or you can reach out to me and ask me more about them. I'm going to go into shared screen. I'm going to show you some of the cards and questions we've been using. So SOLVED is an acronym. SOLVE stands for situation, observation, level, validation, exception, decision, and direction. And the first question normally is something like this. So you'd phrase to me, or I'd phrase to you, what the challenge is and the problem I want help with and how you can be most helpful. We'd pull a card. This card here says, describe what you want to have happen. So you'd answer that question. And you'll see here, I actually pulled a card. And so I've been using these visual cues to help. And these cards are from a deck called Points of You, or the coaching game. So the idea is that when you're stuck in a challenge or a problem, or you're trying to create what are called abstractions to complex or wicked problems, sometimes a picture helps to kind of make your brain open up or create new connections and pathways that weren't there before. So I thought, neat, let me mash up my solved cards and these cards to make sense of things. The next question is an observation question. What does progress look like in the next 10 minutes, 10 days, 10 years? And when I did that, I pulled this card. And as I'm thinking about the last card and what do I want to have happen, situation, and this card on the progress next 10 minutes, 10 years, 10 days, this card again makes me think about new ideas. So it pulls connections and concepts that maybe I wouldn't have considered in a language or in a visual form into an abstraction, which is art, and I can pull that back to concrete processes. Next question is, you understand that your progress is something that you can control. Now you have access to a map that is made just for you, which is written in a cryptic code, and each step you take means your route appears more evidence. Where are you on this map? What successes can you share that are now clear and known to you? So we've gone through situation. What do you want to have happen? Observation. If things are better, what will you observe happening? Now we're going to level. Try to identify on your progress map. It's written just for you, but you can't fully understand it yet. It's still a little cryptic. How do you know where you are on this map? And what can you share that lets us know you've made success so far? So here we're turning a bit of a corner. We're shifting to say, here's the description of the problem and the identification of solution steps if I was to observe you. Now we're saying, where are you right now? An area of progress and problem solving or decision making, or even when you're feeling unsure what to do in complexity and ambiguous situations, is to understand your current situation. Where are you right now? And to figure out how you got here. That's what this question does. And interestingly, I pulled from the points of view deck this judgment card. So when I see this card, I think about the mapping question in my head, and I see this image, and a new idea or concept comes out. Next one, a validation question. What impresses you about what you have accomplished so far? In the solution focused and the solved cards deck, we consistently ask folks to look at resources and things in the past that helped them be successful and understand how they made those things happen to create progress going forward. And that's what this question does. So when you ask somebody, or better yet, when you read it out loud and ask yourself, what impresses me about what I have accomplished so far? And you write those things down, you're now creating resources and past strengths or indicators that helped you get to where you are on that map in the last question, which will also help you figure out where to go based upon the earlier situation questions. And I pulled this card. And when I see this card, I see this foot and the idea of a journey and the idea of sort of what have I done that's gotten me here? Oftentimes with leadership teams and any team or executive, I meet with you in general, I say, you've gotten this far in your career. Things have worked pretty well for you. You know how to make decisions, how to make actions, how to choose relatively good paths in your career to move forward. What did you do about those things? How did you figure those things out? Looking back at your journey, you can recreate and identify the current status to figure out where to go next. Next question is an E, or we call it exceptions. When is your solution happening even just a little bit? So let's think about what your hopes are, what I wanted to accomplish, what you saw in the observation question and described, what you looked at in the level question and that picture, you validated your progress. And now we're saying, when these things are happening, when is it happening even just a little teeny bit? Let's say, for example, you want greater clarity on what choice to make, or you are having a challenging time with your boss or an employee, or you just can't get through the current work because there's so much shit going on day to day. You can't figure out what to do. To take a deep breath and to say, when is my solution, what I want to have happen, already happening even a little? If we can pull that out, that exception, and say, when I do these things, whatever these things are better for me. How can we amplify those? That's a way of looking at the current environment and understanding, how can I create more things like these and less like these? And the only way in a complex or unordered environment where you can't make decent sense of things, or you're tired, or you're stressed, there's a lot going on, is to look at the current status, that current map, and say, I want more of these things to happen, whatever those things are. How can I do that? And how you do that is by looking at your past opportunities, your past successes, your past obstacles, how you navigated those things, and what brought you forward. So the solved questions move you into greater clarity. Final question is what we call decision and direction. So we've gone through the situation questions, observation, level, validation, exception, and I've used an image here to kind of trigger more abstract thinking on how you move forward. The last question is, oddly enough, it's one of my favorites when I created it, because it gives you choice. So we see from those of you who know about trauma-informed care or trauma-informed language, and also solution-focused language, is you, we always have a choice. Just because somebody asks you or tells you to do something, or just because I, as a consultant or as a executive coach or facilitator, give you advice, that does not mean you have to act upon it. You can choose to do something with it or nothing with it. This question here about the flip a coin question. So it says flip a coin, right? Flip a coin. If it lands on heads, you agree to make one change on what you want to have happen. Tell us about it. Tails, you do nothing different at all. So here we're allowing the ambiguity or the robustness of you as an individual to figure out what you want to do. And when you make the choice, you flip that coin, it lands on heads. You say, you know what? The opportunities are here for me to figure out what I want to have happen and to phrase this out loud and answer my questions. So interestingly here, when I pulled this, I randomly pulled these cards and I pulled this point of view part. But I think more importantly, it shows the person on the outside viewing something on the inside, which again says you have a choice. You can turn your head, you can focus on it, you can move forward on certain things. So it may seem a little confusing, yet when you are confused, and when I am working through a challenging situation myself, I come back to the solved cards. And those 6 questions I asked you guys, or asked you to think about and to respond to, and then using those images to create an abstraction to pull you from concrete to a conceptual idea, to pull back to a concrete action or something you're going to do to move forward, will help you and your team create discussions, find new ideas to make progress, and to improve your resiliency or robustness in working through complex or wicked challenges. Thank you for listening. I'm Mike Cardus from Organization Development by Mike Cardus. Have a good day.